Sup guys, Big Explaining FNTI here. Today we're going to be ranking the countries at Epcot. I recently went, in fact I went yesterday to all of the Epcot countries. We walked around, we saw the inside of all of them, did all the checks and bases. Obviously I'll be a little bit biased because we spent more time in others, we spent more time in some countries than others, and we only ate at two of them. So naturally there's going to be some bias here, but don't worry about that because I'm still the omnipotent master of everything that is and isn't correct and what you should and shouldn't enjoy. So we're going to rank all these countries from 11 to 1, and I'm also going to divide them into S, A, B, C, D tiers, just like you all enjoy. So we're going to start it off right now. No further delay, the D tier, the worst nation in Epcot, 11 out of 11th place is going to be America. A very, very sad sight to see how poorly our great nation is represented, but we could certainly be doing a lot better than one steak restaurant that culinary critics say is not accurate, and two big buildings, one being the Liberty Bell building. Come on guys. America, we should have a huge roller coaster, we should have fireworks every 10 seconds, something cool. But instead it's just one big building that's always empty, which is hilarious. The America building inside, despite having cushioned chairs, is just all completely empty. But still, there's some museum bits, you walk around, and there's one animatronic show. From people who I check online, they say that only the animatronic show saves America, and we didn't watch it. So that's enough for me. America is going to go in 11th place. There's nowhere to walk around. It's not that entertaining. I guess it's air conditioning. If you ever want to sit pretty much by yourself in air conditioning, go to America. There won't be a lot of people there for good reason. Moving up the list, we're going to see 10 out of 11. America was the only nation in the D tier. Moving up to the C tier, we're going to see Canada. Canada was pretty good. In fact, it's the first nation you see if you're walking right, to your right throughout all the nations. But the problem with Canada is that it's very, very dry. It begins with, well, not literally dry. We'll explain. So you get into a pretty decent walkway, right? There's a little bit of place to explore, a little bit of walking next to a cliff face, and a river. There's a waterfall. It's nice and humid in the air. It's pretty cool. So on a hot day, when we went yesterday, it was good to just walk around, cool down a little bit. But besides that, they have the reflection activity thing where you stand next to a railing and look around you as 10 screens display a video of Canada, which is pretty good. A couple other nations have it too. France has one, and China has one. We went on the ones from Canada and Canada and China. We didn't get the one in France, but generally the Canada one was kind of dull. It's okay. I think I liked it more than the Chinese one, but it kind of just shows you very surface level, pretty pictures of Canada, and it's not that entertaining. I guess you can go if you want to stand in air conditioning for 10 minutes, or if you, for some reason, want to go on every attraction at Disney, but it wasn't that good. And besides that, there's nothing else to do in Canada. There's a little bit of a shop, and there's, you can buy some maple syrup popcorn, but, there's not much to do here. It's very skippable. If I had to skip a nation, Canada's not a big deal, I'm just skipping it. Next, in 9 out of 11, is Germany. Germany was pretty interesting. It's nice. It's a little, enclave area. You go inside, they have one buffet, one a couple stands of food, and that's pretty much it though. It's a nice scenic little area, but there's no alleyways to walk down, there's no place to explore. It's literally you walk in, go in a circle, leave. And the buffet is kind of weird. It's $50 for a person at the lunch buffet, which I thought was ridiculous. So probably not going to give it to Germany. I think the only thing keeping it above Canada and America is the fact that I'm going to include the train a little bit to the right of Germany, a little train set where they have a little cool little town, with a couple trains driving by. I'm going to count that as part of Germany, meaning it's going to be 9 out of 11 instead of 11 out of 11, honestly. It's probably worse than America if you don't include it. But yeah, generally, I don't like Germany that much. It was kind of a plain place. They should probably add something, maybe a ride, maybe an attraction, maybe just add a restaurant. The shops were okay. I think Germany definitely left me wanting. Up to 8 out of 11, a very sad nation that I think was better a year ago and could hopefully get better a year from now. That's going to be Norway, the last nation in our C tier. Norway has been reduced to Frozen. This is Frozen Town, baby. We got Frozen. There's one ride. It's Frozen Adventure, 2 hours wait time. I don't know why. It's Frozen Adventure. Go on the Frozen boat ride, which is upsetting because they used to have a ride called Maelstrom or something like that, which had a drop. It's the only water ride in the park with slightly a drop, right? Or pretty much one of the only thrill rides at Epcot, right? Naturally, now that they've replaced it with the Guardians Galaxy ride, and they still have the like car making one. So they still have like some thrill rides, but Maelstrom was always like a good one because it's like, okay, there's something on the complete other side of the park from the other thrill rides where you can go and get a little bit of excitement. But now it's gone. Now it's Frozen Forever After Adventure. We didn't go on it, so I can't tell you how good it is. And then there's also like a Meet the Frozen characters bit. But like overall, that's not interesting to me. So I've grown out of Frozen personally. I feel like Norway isn't Frozen, right? Like Frozen didn't even take place in Norway, I think. Don't sue me. But yeah, so generally I feel like they've reduced Norway to basically just the pocket to hold Frozen, which is upsetting. I think they could do better, especially with like the mature part of Epcot, right? The whole point is that it's like a showing of the world and the culture and the cuisine, and now it's just Frozen Land. So the rest of the nation is okay. There's decent walkways, places to be. If they just cut Frozen and put Vikings back, they probably would go up higher. Next, starting in the B tier, we've got 3 nations in the B tier, one of which is going to be France. Man, everyone online is saying that France is the best nation, and I personally can't attest to it, mostly because we didn't eat there, right? Obviously, if we probably ate in the French restaurant, we would have been like, oh my god, France is the best. But I feel like for this ranking, we have to understand, first, I'm biased, and second, I'm not just going to only evaluate on food because I only had 2 meals, right? If I had 2 meals in a day at Disney, right, lunch and dinner, and I'm like, okay, off of that alone, I'm going to decide what nations are good. That feels like biased, right? So we're going to talk about like a completely foodless review. We're still going to see that France is not that good without food, right? Walking around, they made a whole ratatouille section. Like you go back around the whole like France and you get to see the ratatouille ride, which is like an hour, 90 minutes. It's not even a ride, I don't know. It's Meet the Ratatouille, something like that. 90 minutes, all times, and the crepe shop. Food shops and like very boring stores. The stores are very boring. Overall, France is disappointing, right? There's so much they could have done. They have a model of the Eiffel Tower that's standing on top of a building so you can never reach it, which just, why, right? Every other nation that makes like a cool thing, like Italy, Mexico, Japan, yeah, even Canada with their big building, you can just go up and look at them. You can like see the base of them. But for for France, it felt like they couldn't make a good Eiffel Tower, so they just hit it on top of a building and hoped nobody would see it, which is disappointing. I think overall the food might carry it, but since I didn't take the food there, it's gonna go straight to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 11. So unfortunate. Not too good on the tier ranking. Right above France is going to be Italy. Italy is a nation that I really liked, and I tried to sneak as high up on this tier list as I could without anybody noticing. So I think 5 out of 11, right in the middle. Sorry, 6 out of 11. France was 7. Right in the middle, probably the highest I can put it in good faith. Basically, Italy has 1 pizza restaurant that we didn't eat at. I'll tell you where we ate when we get there. We didn't eat there, but I hear it's pretty good online. Mostly I just liked it because it's so charming. They have a nice big building starting at like right at the front. They have a really big like spire thing, which I thought was really cool. You keep walking, you see like a little statue of some sort of like, oh, I'm already forgetting. I think it was like Neptune, or obviously not exactly Neptune, but there was a nice statue. You keep walking, it's nice, charming. It's very empty. It's like not empty, but it's very spacious. So there's a lot of places to stand, good places to sit. There was for those of you who saw the wolf video of me howling, I'll cut that in right now. What's up, everybody? We're here at Disney, but what's that I see in the sky? Ow! Yeah, generally Italy just kind of like struck a chord with me. I thought it was very charming. There's no real reason it should be up this high. It could probably stand next to Canada or next to Germany, but I thought it was charming, so I put it all the way up here. Last nation in the B tier, taking our number 5 spot, is going to be China, which, yeah, as a kid I remember China being way better, way bigger, but we didn't have that much time to spend around it. We walked around a little bit. We saw the reflections of China, which I thought was acceptable. It wasn't great. It's kind of like telling you about the different parts of China. It talks about like Tiananmen Square, but it talks about like Tiananmen Square, Hong Kong. It doesn't mention any like the protests happening or any like the political situation, which feels kind of like if you know about like what's happening in China and you watch the reflections, it's gonna sit weird with you, which yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that. I think China wasn't awful. They have nice museums. It's very pretty. I could definitely walk around it. There's a lot of space to walk around. There's some nice shrubbery, some nice greenery, which definitely sets it apart from everything below it, from Italy to America. China's a big step up. Now we're getting the heavy hitters. China has great places to walk. You can just walk around for like 3 or 4 minutes. For sure, you'll be fine. Nice grass, nice little bushes, stuff like that. It's a very pretty nation. They did a really good job. So overall, I'd say China is pretty great. It could use maybe a ride. I mean, okay, I think every nation could have used a ride, but whatever. China did okay. I think they could have, if they expanded it a little bit more, if they added maybe a few more museums, maybe a nice gift shop or something, maybe fix the reflections, make it a bit more, I don't know, maybe just like a bit more scenic. It was also kind of outdated, like everything looked kind of blurry, almost fuzzy. If they fix the reflections, they make a bit more, maybe make a better restaurant situation. The food wasn't like phenomenal. I feel like they could make it more formal, then I think they would definitely be going higher. But otherwise, I think China and up is all things that are all nations that are very well put together, that well deserve their spot in Epcot. Italy down could probably use a bit of adjustments, but probably need a bit of adjustments. China and up are all really good nations. Next, we're gonna move into the United Kingdom. Wow, I felt British when I came in here. Yeah, you walk in the United Kingdom, suddenly you kind of, you want to be British. Then their shops are all really nice. They have a long line of things. You can buy things from swords to tea to just like basic lamps. I think they had some nice clothing. Yeah, it was just a really good store. And they're kind of like winding. They like wind through the whole of the United Kingdom. So it means you can walk from one end of the United Kingdom to the other all in shops, which is pretty much what we did because it was really hot outside. Besides that, behind all of the shops, they have this little like, park area where they have like nice bushes, like some bush walls that you can like a maze that you can run through, and they had a stage where there was a rock band playing rock music, which I thought was really cool. I didn't really associate United Kingdom with rock music, but yeah, Epcot showed it to me and I thought, yeah, this makes sense. It makes sense. They had really good music. Yeah, they were just playing for 20-25 minutes. Besides that, they also have a couple of good restaurants. We had fish and chips for dinner and they were really good, presentable, comparable to the ones at Universal. Generally, I think that's pretty good. They were not too overpriced. Well done. Well done. I'll give United Kingdom a pass. Well done. Yeah, they also had, who was it? Mary Poppins was like meeting people in front of the United Kingdom exhibit. And yeah, I think generally United Kingdom was pretty good. They could definitely increase I think more walkable areas would be awesome. Just more space, I guess, is what I'd say for every nation. But United Kingdom does use their space very well. So yeah, I think they're definitely deserving the 4 out of 11 spot. Phenomenal. Moving up to the highest, United Kingdom is the start of A tier. Slightly above the United Kingdom at A tier is going to be Morocco. Morocco was a great nation. Suddenly, like the top 3 are pretty much indistinguishable in quality. They're all really good. It's just basic personal preference and a couple like different things I look at. But Morocco was great. The theming was phenomenal. You walk around all of Morocco, there's plenty of places to walk. And you can go like through the streets, through like the back alleys of the streets. It feels great. It feels like you've been transported straight into Morocco. I assume, I've never been, but I like it. Yeah, great atmosphere. I like where they have like the Princess Jasmine is visiting Morocco. I thought that was a nice touch, right? For Norway, they make it seem like Elsa and Anna are like living in Norway or like they're from Norway. In Morocco, they brought in like Jasmine, but they make it so she's visiting, right? And that already gives you a completely different vibe. It doesn't feel like she's squashing their culture with like Disney branding. It feels like they're like mixing, right? Which is great. Besides that, the Morocco Marathon exhibit has been fantastic. If you don't know what that is, basically in Morocco, they have a 6-day marathon, I think, like 6 days or so. And each day they run about 1 or 2 actual like normal length marathons while carrying on their back food, tents, baggage, like venom pumps for snakes, a lot of cool stuff. And it seems like a very, very hard activity. Well, it is a super hard activity, running across like deserts and hot days, cold nights, with pretty much like everything carried on your back for 12, 13 marathons in total. That sounds horrendous. I would never do that, but it's very impressive. And I'm glad that they're honoring it with like a huge exhibit. We also had food at the what's it called? The Spice Road table, a little like the small restaurant in Morocco, because we had lunch there and their big restaurant wasn't open for lunch. But still, the Spice Road table was great. It's like a lot of small portions. You can eat maybe like 2 to get full, but they're all really good. It's a lot of food. They had vegan options, they had vegetarian options, they had meat eater options. So a lot of great stuff. Just generally a good place to be. The servers were really nice. Yeah, fantastic. I think Morocco did it phenomenally. Morocco is the gold standard of how you should make an Epcot nation. You have a big restaurant that's like fancy for dinner. You have a nice normal restaurant for lunch, right? Or dinner, but it's like good. It's still good food. It has like a stand, I think. Yeah, they had a coffee shop with like biscuits and stands, biscuits and coffee, which I thought was fantastic. So yeah, definitely give that. Morocco, definitely deserving of the number 3 spot. Morocco is the gold standard. If any nation wanted to do better, they could look at what Morocco did, copy their floor plan exactly, and change the like culture. All right, moving into the second out of 11, right? The S tier, what I think are the 2 best nations. These 2 are even harder to distinguish like between than Morocco. The thing is, these 2 are both very unique. That's why this nation right now, Mexico, 2 out of 11, number 2 out of 11. I think Mexico gets all the way this high because they're super unique. Basically, they have a couple of like locations outside with like a small restaurant. I think there's like a coffee shop too. But then they have like a big pyramid, right? And when you go inside the pyramid, the whole thing has been hollowed out on the inside to be a big like location. Everything's like a night sky. It's meant to look like a Mexican night, which is great. It looks fantastic. The visuals definitely did not miss. They have nice buildings on the left, buildings on the right, a big pyramid thing at the back with like nice like colors. It stands out with the good color scheme, the green colors. They have like a volcano in the background erupting. I don't know if Mexico has volcanoes, but either way, it looks fantastic. And despite the fact that you're inside, it does for a few seconds feel like you are outside, and doesn't give you like that cramped claustrophobic feeling that you would if you are inside. Besides that, it's like nice city streets. Instead of like making a big instead of making like a big shopping building, they made like a bunch of little stands in the middle, so it feels like you're walking through a Mexican street, right? People are offering you things, you can buy things, right? Besides that, they have a restaurant at the back. We didn't eat the food in Mexico. I hear it's not phenomenal online, but I don't trust online, and I'm not ranking based on food if I haven't eaten it. So I'll say that the Mexican restaurant that overlooks like the pyramid and the volcano looks really cool. And I like the fact that if you look to your left, you get to see like people riding by on the boat ride that they have there in Mexico. I will say though, it's very obvious that the Mexican idea, like the idea in Mexico, would be that you go to the restaurant, you sit down, you look to your left, and you can see people below you like rowing by on the little boat ride. The second thing they had to plan was the boat ride, which they did not. It looks stupid. Basically, there's the 3, I forgot what the word was, but basically it's Donald Duck and 2 of his friends, and they're a mariachi band, and you boat ride in silence for like 10-15 seconds, which are the best 15 seconds of the ride, and then they start talking, and they're like, we gotta find Donald, and then they find Donald, and they're like, do 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 do, but it's annoying. The voices they're not that fun. I'd rather they just let you in silence enjoy all the scenery. I hear that's what used to be there. They used to have like animatronics that like tell you about, like not tell you, but like show you Mexican culture with like fiesta and stuff, and then they changed it to the ducks because it was unpopular, which I guess makes sense, right? Epcot is becoming slowly more and more for kids with stuff like Frozen, Ratatouille. Now they're like remaking the Mexican ride. They added like Guardians of the Galaxy. So I guess, yeah, Mexico is becoming more, Epcot is becoming more for kids. But like the ride is annoying. I pity the parents that have to constantly go on it. But on the bright side, if you're hot, like if it's a hot day outside, you want to cool down, you can hop into the Mexican pavilion and just wait for 30 minutes on the boat ride to cool off. Although I guess at the same time, you could just go into the Mexican pavilion. It's still air conditioned. Anyway, though, Mexico gets up here all the way because of its uniqueness. There's not a lot of areas to walk and like explore, but it just looks very cool when you walk inside the pyramid. You see the huge like area. It feels like you've really entered into Mexico instead of just entered into a few buildings and arrangements to look like Mexico, right? So that's why it's going to go all the way up to the S tier, 2nd out of 11th. Moving on to my number 1 pick. Can you guess what the best nation at Epcot is? I don't know. I mean, if you've been to Epcot, you should know by now, right? Because I've already said the other 10. But number 1 is, in fact, going to be Japan. Japan did things phenomenally. Japan, I'm not going to put up here because they did something fantastic. They didn't make one, like, super unique decision like Mexico did. They didn't, like, perfectly encapture the Japanese culture like I think Morocco did. But everything they did try for and everything they did do, they did very, very well. That's what I need. Japan is the baseline of taking everything that I would expect from a nation and then doing it slightly better than every other nation, right? Japan wins on a lot of avenues. So let's go through everything, right? Japan starts off, you'll see a big building. There's this big blue, I think it's called a pagoda. It might not be, but you've got a big blue building it looks fantastic. It's definitely straight from Japanese culture. You just walk around it, the base, you can see all of it. You can walk up to the base, right, of the building and see the whole building. I don't know why I have to tell you that, but after France, that's actually an impressive thing now. You can see the whole building and you can walk up to the whole building. Anyway, that tangent aside, and it looks nice. It's a big building. It gives you like a bit of shade and it's something to look at for a while. Behind that, you have like a garden that looks very well done. It's maintained. They've got like a pond with some koi fish. A great place to be. You just walk around it for a bit. They've got some benches up there, some chairs, some places to sit in the shade. So I think it's a great location to just walk around for a bit, which I appreciate. I like a location, especially where you can feel like you're exploring, right? Here you can explore the whole, like obviously it's not huge, you can see the end of it, but still, it's a nice little place to explore where you're walking around. Then you're going to go inside and you're going to get hungry, right? Japan has got 3 restaurants for you, which is great. Not a lot of places, well, everyone I think has 3 restaurants, but Japan's are very clearly distinct and good. One is like a little stand. Every nation gets a small little stand where you buy food, right? But Japan's is the most unique in that they have shaved ice. More importantly, they have sushi, plum wine, sake, and stuff like that, right? I think there's something else, but I forgot already, which I think is really cool. Most other locations, they went for something basic, right? Like, off the top of my head, United Kingdom has the fish and chips that you would probably, like Disney can probably just buy for free from like the same place Universal gets them, right? America just sells like turkey legs and stuff. And generally it's safe food. It's food that everybody likes, but it doesn't feel as culturally significant as sushi in Japan. Sushi in Japan feels like a no-brainer, but it's not the type of food that I would expect to just like walk by and be like, you know what? I would like to buy 1 roll of sushi, please. But I like that Japan did it. Japan did it and they said, yeah, you can buy 1 roll of sushi and then just go on your way, which I think is creative. It's unique and I like it. Besides that, like shaved ice and stuff, it's good stuff. It's desserts that you don't see anywhere else at Disney or at least nowhere else in Epcot. So I think that's creative, unique. More importantly, I like the indoor restaurants. They've got things like noodles, lo mein. I don't actually know everything at the indoor restaurants, but they look nice from the outside. I didn't go in. I'm not going to judge based on their food. The main attraction in Japan is their huge store, which I think is great. They divided it from traditional Japan to modern Japan, right? Where in the modern Japan section, they sell things like anime related, little like plushies, things like that. And then traditional Japan, they sell things like katanas, sushi sets, chopsticks, some old snacks, and then like the modern section, they have things like panda, Pocky, fun stuff. And I think that's overall, I think Japan made a very creative decision with their store, right? Most other stores you can buy, like in Mexico, you can buy Mexican things. In Morocco, you buy Moroccan things. In the United Kingdom, you buy United Kingdom things, right? In Japan, you're buying things that are of like the entire Japanese culture, right? You're buying things from the traditional era of Japan. You can buy things from long, long ago, things that are like being respected as tradition and things that are being more new things in Japan. And it kind of feels like while you walk through the store, you're learning about Japanese culture, right? You're learning that like the era of samurai and how it like transitioned from like fancy eating with sushi, how like back in the day they enjoyed like some old toys which you could buy, or you can see like the new stuff, right? The more modern era of Japan, what you'd expect if you went there today, like anime, which I think is great. It's a great way to show both the culture of Japan and actually sell things at a store. Besides that, they had one little wing which I thought was fantastic. They had the kawaii museum, kind of, where they show a bunch of cute things and like stuffed animals and stuff, and they explain to you, yeah, here are the kawaii, like here's what kawaii cute culture is, here's the cute things they have, and like here's how it started, here's how kawaii being cute, if you don't know, are like seen in Japanese culture and society. And I think one of the best things they did is they put like a wall with a bunch of Japanese mascots, and they explained what each of them is and from what it is, right? Things like they had Pikachu, and then that's the only one I remember, and a bunch of other mascots from like different cities and radio stations and stuff like that, which I thought was awesome. It's a good way to use a museum to teach people about the modern culture in Japan, which I thought was cool. Generally, I think Japan, to summarize everything, Japan is up here because they did everything well, right? They have a nice big building to look at. They have great places to walk. They have good food, like eateries. They have unique things. They have a great shop, definitely the best shop out of every nation. And they kind of teach in the shop. And I think they just have the best visuals too, right? Japan went all out to really make a lot of buildings, a lot of cool stuff. Overall, though, I do think Japan, Mexico, and Morocco, if you put any of those in the top three, or you like put them in any order, I think that's all correct. It depends what you like more, right? I like Japan because it's a great baseline. If every nation did what Japan did, if they all like bumped up to Japan's level, they would all be in the S tier, right? Mexico I like because Mexico took a super different direction and it worked. And then Morocco I like because it very accurately represents culture. It feels like you're walking through Morocco. I like the restaurants a lot, and I think they're even getting a lot of bonus points for what they did with Jasmine, right? And they show that Disney isn't the culture of nations. Disney is a part or like related to the culture of nations. I like that, right? And in Norway, Disney, Frozen is Norway. Frozen is Norway's culture. In Morocco, like Aladdin is a story that is lightly tied to some elements of Moroccan culture. Besides that, I think Morocco just has really good food. United Kingdom is also pretty good. I think United Kingdom could bump it up slightly more with a bit more walking area, maybe some ride or something. But overall, that's my list. I hope you all enjoyed. To summarize, our list from best to worst is Japan, Mexico, Morocco, United Kingdom, China, Italy, France, Norway, Germany, Canada, America. Like always, if you disagree with me, you are welcome to write me a comment. I will gladly and fully consider your views in their entirety, and then I will explain why I either agree with you now or still disagree and believe that I'm right. Anyway, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Definitely write me a comment, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the future. Goodbye.